Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. Yeah, everything seems to be working fine, as opposed to yesterday when I kept dropping frames. So this is part 4 of my playthrough of Miles Edgeworth. Ace Attorney Investigations Miles Edgeworth, that's the name. And I handed on a cliffhanger yesterday. I did not present to you the brains behind the kidnapping, so, well, now's gonna be the time. I should publish on Discord, by the way, before I forget. Bear with me. I really need a better laptop or computer. If I had the choice, I'd prefer a desktop, but yeah, okay, there we go. Okie dokie. So. The one I thought was the brains behind the kidnapping was that guy. Lanzamano? Yes, this abduction was in fact schemed up by Lance himself. Recall what he said when he appeared before us. Did you see the faces of your kidnappers? No, I didn't see their faces, but two. One was a woman. How would he know if they were wearing costumes? However, there were 3 kidnappers, which is in direct contradiction to what he said. But, I only saw 2 people. This guy was being held hostage. It's possible he couldn't see all 3 of them. Ah, yes. About when you were being held. I have my doubts about what happened then. Lance, would you mind telling us what happened while you were being held captive? I really don't remember much anymore, honest. But if I don't tell you at least something, you won't believe me at all, will you? Lance's testimony. I was kidnapped yesterday morning. They had me shut in that room, blindfolded the entire time, but the kidnappers suddenly disappeared around the time I heard rain falling outside. My hands were cuffed, but it was a stroke of luck that they left me alone. I made my escape and ran away from that room as fast as I could. Ran away? Through the underground passageway, I presume. Are you okay? Sorry, I really didn't want to recall that horrible ordeal, but now you believe me, right? No, not quite yet. Ah, how can you not? Why do you look at me with icy daggers in your eyes? Because he's a prosecutor and because they're all like that. I'll have you know, Agent Lang, a prosecutor's eyes are for discerning the truth. And should they be interpreted to be cruel at times, then so be it. There is a sticking point in Lance's testimony. Let's see what he offers up when I push a little. Do I have to press on everything? Well, nothing there, I suppose. He says he was kidnapped yesterday morning. I don't see why he would be lying about that. They had me shut in that room, blindfolded the entire time. How would you know one of them was a woman then? By that room, you mean the room in the kidnapper's hideout, correct? Yes, but I was blindfolded the whole time, so I didn't know that until I made my escape. Then you were in the same room as your kidnappers? They spoke in hushed tones, but I could catch bits of their conversation. It was definitely 2 people, and one of them was definitely a woman. I was so scared, I could tell they were nearby, so I didn't dare make a move. But the kidnapper suddenly disappeared around the time I heard rain falling outside. Could he have heard it at all? The kidnappers disappeared? The room fell into a sudden silence. I had been left behind like an unwanted mutt. And what do you mean by unwanted mutt? What a pointless question. It's not like he's going to tell you anything new, you know. It's a poetic simile. You should learn how to use them too. You may look refined on the outside, but it's no good if you're not refined on the inside as well. My hands were cuffed, but it was a stroke of luck that they left me alone. What was he cuffed to? Hold it! And those cuffs on your wrists, I suppose you are still cuffed in that case. I am well aware of how I am chained to reality. I couldn't find the key, so I'm afraid that I'm stuck like this. Even though I escaped from that jail cell, I will forever be a prisoner. I made my escape and ran away from that room as fast as I could. How did you manage to escape? I wanted to just get out of there, but the door leading outside was locked, which is why I had to use the underground passageway to make my escape. Yeah, well, you see, about the door being locked, I'm not so sure about that. I remember our escape to be equally as hard. This is an invaluable piece of testimony. I mustn't let it go in unexamined. That last one? It was locked from the inside. With that thing.
Objection!
You say that the door leading out was locked, but was it really? We're talking about that room behind the saloon front, right? Look, I heard that it took quite a few men to get that thing open. Right, Sheena? Yes, that's correct. And take a look at this. What is that? A sword? It's not especially reliable. It's not an especially reliable one if it's broken like that. Allow me to start from the end. My conclusion is that the door was never locked. It was simply held shut by this sword, which was used to jam the handle. Lance, even though your hands were cuffed together, you could still use them. If that's the case, then why did you not just simply remove the sword and escape? Oh, why didn't I? I was disoriented. Yes, that's it. I didn't notice it. As if I should accept such a bold-faced lie. You locked yourself in that room because you had to make yourself look like the victim, but you did not in fact possess the key to the door. That is why you used the prop sword to improvise and create a prison of your very own. Not so fast. You've been making this guy out to be one of the kidnappers for some time now. I wonder if you've forgotten something very important along the way, and what would that be? A motive, what else? Do you honestly think that an upright, pure boy like him would hatch up a completely pointless scheme such as kidnapping himself? I think so, actually. This proves that Lance did indeed have a motive to commit this crime. The letter, signed by Viola.
Take that!
To put it simply, Lance has a very urgent need for money. This is hardly your typical love letter. It is, in fact, a collections bill. Yeah, because if you remember Viola from Trials and Tribulations, this is how she tends to, well, talk to people that owe her money. Sorry, but I had to drink before it goes cold. It appears our upstanding boy has accumulated quite a debt. Isn't that right, Lance? Wait, didn't his cuffs just fly off his hands just now? Looks like it's hard being the son of a rich man too. It must be rough when you have to resort to stealing from your own old man, huh? Yeah, alright, I give up. I abducted myself. Lance! It's over, Lolly. In this life, we really are bound to our fates after all. All I wanted was to go with you to a new town somewhere where no one would know us. I wanted us to be well off with that $1 million, but now, that dream is over. Oh, Lance! Then you are giving yourself up? Yes, I had planned to run away from this world with my Lolly. Oliver even helped us with the plan, but then he had to go and stab us in the back. He turned on you? Maybe he didn't want to split the ransom money, that's my guess. It happened almost right after you made the drop-off. When we were alone, he attacked me all of a sudden. After a brief struggle, I was able to contain him and keep him under control. We left him inside that room as Lottie and I made our escape. We wore different costumes and split up. Hello, Quelix. How's it going? We wore different costumes and split up. Lolly left first in the blue badger costume. That would mean the person Officer Meekin saw was Mrs. Popes. But right then, the old man just had to wake up. I was careless, and he tackled me pretty hard from behind. Then Oliver put on a bad badger costume, took the suitcase with the $1 million, and ran. I contacted Lolly right away and warned her that he had a gun. They had no idea that they were related, so I thought that it could only end badly. Cold outside, wish I were inside, gaming like you. Why, you're outside right now? Because if he was, I just killed my own father. Lolly, then it really was you. Could it have been? That man was not my father. I mean, because at the stadium, there was a bad badger pulling the suitcase with the $1 million in it. But that badger pointed his gun at me, aiming to shoot me dead. That's why I used the gun I got from Lance. There was a gunshot. The other person crumpled to the ground and I ran, scared for my life. I think the big picture is finally coming into focus, don't you? Loli, forgive me. I didn't think it would turn into something so frightening. If only I could have protected you. So, Miss Bobs, she shot her own dad without even knowing who he really was? If what she says is true, are you saying she's lying? But why would she lie about something like that? What purpose would it serve? You would be surprised how often people lie without even realizing it themselves, Kay. Huh? What's that supposed to mean? What I mean is, listen very carefully to her confession once more and you'll see. Going out for dinner in 20 minutes. Ah, okay. Yeah, it was cold outside over here too these past few days. Not so much today, but yeah, in the past few days, yeah, it's been freezing even during the day. Not just at night. That man was not my father. I mean, because at the stadium there was a bad badger putting the suitcase with the $1 million in it.
Hold it.
That was the ransom money, wasn't it? Yes, that's how I was able to identify Mr. Deacon almost immediately. Well, thanks for visiting the stream then, Quillix. Very much appreciated, as always. That's how I was able to identify Mr. Deacon almost immediately. It was all thanks to what Lance told me. And what did he tell you? Well, he called me on my cell phone and told me that Mr. Deacon had betrayed us and had run off with the ransom money, and about how he had a gun. But the bad badger has a fake gun always attached to his hand, so if I present here this one, yeah. I know it's not that one. This one maybe. Yeah. No? Ah no, that's not it, I think. Even after looking at this, can you still claim what you just said is to be true? Actually, I can. Ah, she showed you. Yeah, okay, well, that was a mistake on my part. He's laughing pretty hard at you, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm gonna press on that one.
Hold it.
Were you able to clearly see the gun? Yes, I got a very good look at it while it was pointed at me. Oh, Father, why would you try to shoot me? Do you really think a father would shoot his own daughter, Mr. Edgeworth? I don't know. I don't want to believe it myself. But it's true, my father's left arm was raised with a gun in it, pointed straight at me. I'm about to die, I thought. Miss Pops, please calm down and take a deep breath. And then, would you allow me to please hear that last statement one more time? Yes, of course. Okay, maybe this is where I'm supposed to show it. Unless... Or maybe it's this one that I'm supposed to show. No? What about it? Miss Edgeworth, sir, I don't think you pulled out the right piece of evidence. Yeah, but it makes sense in my head, but the game just isn't programmed to recognize it. Detective Gumshoe, you will refrain from excessive talking. I'll try, sir. Yeah, it's more than likely here that I'm supposed to show a piece of evidence, but... Or is it this one?
Objection.
No, the music doesn't stop. God damn it! It's not polite to confuse poor helpless girls, Mr. Prosecutor, until you have something significant to add stuff that jabbit of yours in your mouth. Damn it! It's a cravat. Yeah, not a jabbit. I was gonna say, yeah.
Hold it.
This time we can see the Wii U pad. Yeah, there it is. Indeed. And you felt that your life was in danger, correct? Yes, I'm about to die, I thought. So, that's why I used the gun I got from Lance. He got a gun from Lance? Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe Lance gave her the missing gun, the fake one that fires blanks. I'm a bit scared of making another mistake, but... Ah, god damn it! But I'm pretty sure that's what it is, though.
Hold it.
You shot Mr. Deacon? Miss Pops. Yes, I shot him. Ha ha ha, and that, as they say, is that. Agent Lank, Miss Pops is far from done. She hasn't even finished her testimony yet. You're going to continue questioning her? What a waste of time. Yeah, well, I'm gonna try, Alright. There was a gunshot, the other person crumpled to the ground. He seems to be telling the truth regarding what happened at the stadium. However, I don't believe it to be absolutely correct. Did you take off immediately following the gunshot? Yes, and you didn't attempt to approach the victim at all after he was shot. I was scared. I don't blame you. I would have done the exact same thing. Where did that happen, by the way? Because does it match the angle at which the guy was shot or not? Where is it if it was him then, by the way? Where is the 1 million? That was the ransom money, wasn't it? Yes, that's how I was able to identify Mr. Deacon almost immediately. It was all thanks to what Lance told me. And what did he tell you? Well, he called me on my cell phone and told me that Mr. Deacon... Yeah, no, okay, no. Yeah, I've already pressed that one. Well, he's holding it in his right hand, and she says left hand. But didn't I already try to present that one here? You know what? I'm gonna save before I try, but I suppose that must be it. No, that's not it. Even though there's a clear contradiction there. She says left hand, and the bad badger has it in his right hand. Yeah, well, unless this is... I mean... He is our father, so... But we've already established that, so I didn't think of that one immediately, because this is something that they have already established and proved before. I mean, I feel like I'm doing the same thing a second time, even though there really is no need for it. It's a bit confusing. And according to this, your father was right-handed? Oh, yeah, okay, that's why. Because that thing says... And I even said myself yesterday that since this is specified in the file, that it probably is going to be relevant at some point. The fact that they are very specific about which hand is his dominant hand. The right one. Ah, then. Yeah, you used the evidence another way, yeah, I guess. The person pointing a gun at you from atop the stage was not Mr. Deacon. Hold on there, Mr. Prosecutor, I think you need to take a refresher course. The Bad Badger has a model gun attached to his right hand, which is why the only hand he could have held the real gun with was his left. Yeah, but there's a gun that's missing. Isn't it possible that it went down like that? Agent Lang, were you paying attention to what Miss Bobs was saying? Then again, I suppose I can't expect someone who has never set foot in court to catch it. Enough with this smugness. Out with it already. Miss Bobs told us earlier there was a Bad Badger pulling the suitcase with the $1 million in it. According to you, the Bad Badger had the gun in his left hand, which would mean that he was pulling the suitcase with his right hand. Is that correct, Miss Bobs? Yes, exactly. And I'm sure it was the Bad Badger. It had those huge sunglasses on its face. But if that's the case, even I can see there is a huge contradiction. Yes, Miss Bobs claims to have seen the Bad Badger, and yet the Bad Badger had both of his hands full. These two pieces of information contradict each other, so one must be wrong. Well, yes, it was the Bad Badger, but he simply didn't have his gun left at the time. Holding a gun in his right hand as he pulls the suitcase with the same hand, isn't it possible for a right-handed person to do both things simultaneously? Your deduction is full of one too many conjectures, don't you think, Mr. Prosecutor? Okay, well, that wasn't the one. I suppose it is pretty difficult, if not impossible, but that's not what I thought this was gonna lead to. I mean, the choices aren't very clear. Yet Miss Bobs claims to have seen the Bad Badger. These two pieces... It was the Bad Badger. They are both correct. Impossible, that just leaves us with an irresolvable contradiction. Miss Bobs' entire statement rests on the fact that she saw his sunglasses and beard, but what if that Bad Badger wasn't wearing pants on his lower half? This proves that there was a way for the Bad Badger to freely use both his hands. Well, the fake gun was ripped from the costume, so... For me, that's what it is. Get your head on straight, Mr. Prosecutor. That doesn't show me diddly squat. I knew it! What I saw was just a mirage. Ah, but come on, it makes sense. I just explained why it does. The Bad Badger costume has a model gun attached to its right hand. It wasn't there at the time! How do you want me to spell it out for you? We've already established that already. What, this? To prove that the costume separates into head and body, I have to show the head? Isn't that like saying the complete opposite of what I'm trying to say? I already found the costume. I'm gonna save and try, I don't know. I mean, this proves that the costume can be separated in two parts, but the costumes have two parts to them, a head and the body. Well, I did find the body part. I wish it was that piece that was added to the... No PSG from me. What? The head was Miss Bobs. Miss Bobs saw was probably really the head of the Bad Badger. However, it is not possible that the Is it not possible that the body was that of an entirely different badger? Oh, that's what he means. Yes, or to put it more bluntly, I believe it was the lower half of this badger. The body of the Bad Badger Miss Bobs saw really belonged to this badger. The blue one or the proto one? What the heck is it? It's the Proto Badger. Yes, and it's a simple matter of process of elimination because the other three costumes were in use. backseat gaming, helping. Ah, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Miss Pops was wearing the Blue Badger's costume, so we can eliminate that one, and the Pink Badger is of the wrong color, which would have been incredibly obvious. All that is left is the Proto Badger costume. Miss Pops, who was the one who wore the Proto Badger costume? That would be Lance. Not so fast. Are you saying what I think you are? That Lance Amato donned the Bat Badger's head and pretended to be Mr. Deacon? On top of which he plotted to shoot Miss Pops while wearing that hideous thing? The stage that was set up in the stadium was nothing more than that, a setup. And its purpose was to lead Miss Pops into believing she had committed murder, standing there in front of Miss Pops and pretending to be the victim. It was all done so that she would pull the trigger. I have no idea what you're talking about. And the gun you gave her was the one that shoots blanks from the real Bat Badger costume. Why exactly would I have had to do all that, huh? There is but one reason, Lance Amano. You are the real culprit behind the murder of Mr. Oliver Deacon. What? No! That's slander. Take it back. You take it back right now. Just out of curiosity, Lance, which is your dominant hand? I'm left-handed, but what does that have to do with anything? It depends. According to Miss Pops, her attacker held the gun in his left hand. Ha! Who is wet-handed doesn't prove a thing. And besides, now you're just being absurd. It's not like the Proto Badger is bulletproof. One misfire and he would have found himself dead, right? No. Of course, logically, if he had been shot, he probably wouldn't be here with us, but I believe he had thought of that as well and prepared accordingly. And this should be all the evidence you need. Well, this one I think, I'm pretty sure that I have to show this one here and now. We found one half of a Bat Badger costume in the hideout, a broken one. It was not the same one that the victim was wearing, plus it was missing something. And that something is the model gun that the Bat Badger carries, which can fire blanks. What? Miss Pops, where is the gun you use now? I threw it away into the sea. That makes it a bit tough to verify what it was. Although I believe that we can safely assume that it was the model gun in question. I've heard enough. All you've been spouting so far is pure conjecture. I admit that as long as the model gun is lost to us, I can't prove I'm right. However, I can say that the probability that I am right is very high. Okay, let's pretend that you're right and that the murder at the stadium was a fabrication. In that case, where do you think the murder really took place, Mr. Prosecutor? I don't know yet. Ha! I knew you were full of it. However, I do believe that the murder took place during an earlier time frame. Please, wait a second. It's simply not possible because I saw Mr. Deacon after he was restrained by Lance. She saw the victim in the state of being restrained? You'll be off? Okay, yeah, thanks. And have a good dinner then. Thanks, man. What Miss Pops saw. I came back to the hideout long after the other two. By that time, Lance had already subdued and restrained Mr. Deacon. He had tied Mr. Deacon securely to the beam in the room next door. After that, the two of us put on our costumes and made our escape. So Mr. Deacon must have escaped after the two of you left, right? We thought that it would attract too much attention if we left together, so I left first. We planned to meet up again at the stage in the stadium, but then, as I was walking through the park, I got a call from Lance on my cell phone. Oliver managed to escape. It looked like he was waiting until I was alone. He also stole the gun from me at that time. And then the murder happened. Mr. Deacon must have overheard their plan to meet up at the stage. Well, Mr. Prosecutor, Miss Pops saw the victim with her own eyes. Which means that the victim was still alive at that time, wouldn't you agree? Why does that sound wrong to me? There must be something amiss about this account. Let's see what happens when I examine it in more detail. Yeah, I myself am gonna have to re-examine everything that she said in detail, indeed. I came back to the hideout long after the other two. By that time, Lance had already subdued and restrained Mr. Deacon. If he was tied to the beam, how was the the trapdoor or whatever, the cover that goes onto the underground passage. How was it held then?
Hold it!
You are sure that it was Mr. Deacon that you saw? Yes, I am certain of what I saw. Did you go into the other room to check? Lance said that it was best if I didn't get too close to him. Stop licking your lollipop ring, please. Lance, he's such a kind soul. Then, are you telling me that you did not confirm that it was Mr. Deacon for yourself? I checked through the slit in the door that separates the two rooms. Yeah, the Bat Badger said on, so I'm absolutely sure. That just had to be Mr. Deacon. She saw a Bat Badger head.
Hold it!
That seems pretty flimsy, but... So the tied-up Mr. Deacon was still in his Bat Badger costume? Yes, and it would appear that she misread the whole situation. What now? Should I raise an objection? Well, let's go ahead with it, because if he asks the question, I suppose this means I'm supposed to. The person you saw was not the victim. What? Why not? I will tell you why not. With this Miss Pops shows us that the person you saw was not the victim. Well, this one was in a separate room, wasn't it? Yeah, it was left in the isolation room.
Take that!
Not the other room. Miss Pops, the person you saw was not Mr. Deacon at all, huh? The person you actually saw was this person. Oh, didn't he have the head himself when he woke up in that room? I think he did, didn't he? It was me. Huh? The person I saw was you, Mr. Edgeworth? I always thought it was a bit odd. Yeah, and then Lance must be the one that knocked me unconscious in the haunted house and who tied me there, so he would have known who it really was. I always thought it was a bit odd. Why would the kidnappers abduct me even after I had handed over the ransom? It's not as though he saw the face of the kidnappers. If I were them, I would have just taken the $1 million and ran. But in the end, there was a point to it all. It was to make me look like Mr. Deacon. And if that was the reason for which I was abducted, then I believe we can assume that the victim was already dead at that time. Well, Lance, am I right? Yeah, that's... You showed me Pop's person, namely me, with the Bat Badger's head on. And then made your costume escape together, or so you pretended. Huh? What do you mean by... What do you mean he pretended? Exactly that. I believe Lance watched you escape, and then doubled back to the hideout. Probably to come and remove the Bat Badger head from my unconscious self. Ah, no, okay. No, it's so he didn't have the head on when he woke up then. But it couldn't have been the other two anyway. Or Kay for that matter. Kay was never wearing one of those costumes, so... And to create this fake prison with the prop sword, he then escaped via the passageway. Not so fast! Hold your tongue, boy. Don't get caught up in that tidal wave of words coming out of Mr. Prosecutor's mouth. Tidal wave? We've heard a lot come out of you, but I've yet to see a shred of evidence. Victim's betrayal and his subsequent detainment, all of that could have happened while you were out cold. That's right, you were out for quite a while, Mr. Prosecutor. How would he know? Even if that were the case, Miss Pops would have still seen me tied to that beam. I was scared of Mr. Deacon, so I didn't go into the next room, so I really have no idea if you were in there or not, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, it would seem that you can't prove a thing. Who said all that? Who said that? Please wait. Mr. Romano. Oh, Miles, my boy, it looks like you're really giving it your all. And Lance, it's not good to cause trouble for others. Dad! Let's see, you are the one in charge of the investigation, correct? Yeah, that's right. Puts on his sunglasses. I'm sorry that my son has been nothing but trouble. This probably won't make up for anything, but I have some evidence for you. Oh, do you now? Is that what I think it is? It's the Badger costume the victim was wearing and a gun. I couldn't wait around for the police, so I went and found these myself. It appears that they were disposed of in the sea. Is there no one in this country who actually obeys the law? There. Now. Agent Lang, please calm down. What the heck is that scrap of paper? This appears to be a letter from the Chief of Police. Please allow Mr. Amano complete freedom to do as he sees fit, it says. What? A true Yakuza. Even the police obeys his orders. Chief of Police? What the? Just who does he think he is? The person who wields the highest authority in this area. Oh, there. Now, there is no need to be so upset. Hey, I'm not a cop for this land. So I'm not bound by the laws of your country. No. I hate this guy. This wasn't meant to strong-arm you into anything. It's just a request. I'm only asking that you please respect the laws of the land. Alright, I can't really say no to that. However, returning to the topic at hand. It doesn't matter who found the evidence. Its value remains unchanged. Alright, now let's take a look at this new evidence. I've already got the results back. I had a special forensics research lab that I'm on good terms with conduct the tests. They verified that the blood on this costume belonged to Oliver. As for the gun, the only fingerprints they could find were yours, Lauren. I don't believe it. You disappoint me, Miles. I can't believe that you would cause my son such stress and heartache. Thank goodness I was able to find the final pieces of evidence. With this, you'll have no reason left to push my poor boy around. That's it? These are the case-making pieces of evidence? Ha! I'll be the judge of that. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Yeah, okay. My... stylus, and there we go. Well, which gun is which? That's what I'd like to know. Could this gun be the actual murder weapon? Verbal data, jotted down in my organizer. There's no blood on it. I find that more than a little suspicious. This bullet hole. It looks kind of burnt around the edges. Wait, those burn marks were left by the gunpowder. This is the most important fact. Why is that? Because it is proof that the victim was shot at point-blank range. Victim's costume data updated in my organizer. This might be important. What's this? It looks like there's something inside the costume head. Hey, this sparkle, I bet they're really valuable. Sorry, but they're just pieces of a mirror. But why are they in here? Well, are these not the most definitive pieces of evidence you've ever seen? Thank you, Dad. This should be enough to convince even Mr. Edgeworth over there. I'm not convinced still. I'm still not convinced. Make no mistake, there are fingerprints on that murderer's gun. Well, I wonder about that, because if he was holding it with the costume, there would be no fingerprints. And they proved that it was Lolly who killed Oliver. But Oliver was also after Lolly's life. So, Mr. Edgeworth, even you must see that Lolly was only acting in self-defense. Yeah, well... The fingerprints on the weapon, huh? Oh no, this isn't helpful at all. Look, Mr. Edgeworth, all I want to do is save Lolly. But in the end, all I can do is watch on as she takes the punishment for her crimes. That may be all you can do, however... I still have a case to solve and a job to do. And this case isn't solved yet. The job of unraveling your insidious lie. You wound me. Why won't you believe me, even in the face of all this evidence? Those fingerprints, are you sure they belong to Miss Pops? There's no mistake about it. Through my connections, I had the best forensics techniques money can buy performed. I find that to be a bit peculiar. What, are you trying to pick an argument with me? What should I do? Should I raise an objection? Well, I think so, yeah, because of the costumes. Frankly, I don't believe that Miss Pops' prints should be on that gun to begin with. And the reason why Miss Pops' prints should not be on the gun is, oh yeah, which one am I gonna show to prove what I'm saying? Well, that one?
Take that!
It's simply not possible for Miss Pops to have left any prints on the murder weapon. Because while she was at the stadium, Miss Pops was wearing a costume. Huh? But there's been no mistake, we found fingerprints. Well, Miss Pops, do you remember touching the gun at all at any time? Ah, yes. As a matter of fact, I did hold it for a bit back in the hideout. I handed it off to Mr. Deacon when he and Lance left for the haunted house. To retrieve the ransom money, I suppose. And there you have it. That is when Mr. Pops' prints found their way onto the gun. Do you understand now, Mr. Amano? The fingerprints do nothing to prove that Miss Pops is the murderer. But you still don't have anything to prove that she isn't the killer, right? You seem very adamant about insisting that your girlfriend is a cold-blooded killer. Oh, Lance! What? No way, I'm incredibly worried about her. Yeah, right, you look like you're worried. But that doesn't change the fact that you don't have any evidence, right? That's where you're wrong, I have the evidence. What? How? The story that Miss Pops killed the victim at the stage in the stadium. The whole affair is simply not true because that was not the real crime scene but a setup. This proves that the real murder was not committed at the stadium at all. Yeah. This is a throwback to something that happened yesterday. What was that again? Oh yeah, because it couldn't have happened at point blank. I'm gonna save before I try that, but... But I think this is it. Let us take another good look at the costume the victim was wearing. Then I believe you will see why I insist he was not shot at the stadium. This is the part of the costume that proves it. The bullet hole.
Take that!
The burn around this bullet hole was made when the victim was shot at point-blank range. Ah, so then you mean the murder what Miss Oldback saw at the stadium really was... Yeah, she saw two people, but they were separated by a distance. If the victim was indeed shot from below the stage, there shouldn't be a gunpowder burn. Hey, look at you, Mr. Smarty Pants prosecutor. Since you seem to know all the answers, why not tell us where the real crime scene is then? Lance set me up to look like Mr. Deacon back at the hideout. If that's the case, then the murder must have happened prior to that. And the location where Lance and the victim were at just before I was imprisoned was the haunted house? I've got it. I know the real scene of the murder. I think. I don't see where else that could be. Plus, it's the only area really that we haven't thoroughly searched, so that would make sense. I would say. I think it's not unreasonable to assume the murder took place in the haunted house. The haunted house? Yes, and I have proof that it is highly likely that the victim was killed there. What proves that the real scene of the crime was the haunted house? The glass? From the broken mirror?
Take that!
These were inside the costume the victim was wearing. They're fragments of a mirror. A mirror? And what does that have to do with anything? Indeed, you don't exactly expect to find pieces of a mirror inside a costume. Yeah, that's actually pretty dangerous. However, there is one place I can think of where there is a plethora of mirror fragments. And that is the haunted house. Lanzamano, I propose that you killed Mr. Deacon with the revolver in the haunted house. That sounds like Clue. Amano killed the victim with the revolver in the haunted house. After that, you stole the Blue Badger mobile to move his body to the Wild Wild West area. The timing of when the Blue Badger mobile was stolen confirms this as fact. Miles, my boy, say no more. I'm sorry, Mr. Romano, but I cannot do that. Not so fast. I hate his voice. It sounds so lame. Be quiet. Yes, please do something. Stop that boy from speaking any more nonsense. Ernest Romano, correct? I meant you. Now be quiet, Gramps. How dare you? I don't need words. The only thing I require is evidence. Decisive evidence. And to call these mirror bits decisive is a bit too presumptuous, Mr. Prosecutor. What? Sheena, wasn't there a mirror in the kidnapper's hideout? Yes, there was a mirror there. Ah, yeah, it's true. A mirror that's for the haunted house. Yeah, it's true now that they mention it. You see, isn't it possible the fragments got into the costume there? But Agent Lang, there were no fragments on the floor, so the probability is very low. Probability? Ha 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 ha. Langsy says, on Truth's path, the word probability does not exist. The only thing that does is definitive proof. The question, Mr. Prosecutor, is do you have the definitive proof you need? Well, if you leave me enough time, I can go back out and try to find it for you. I mean, I could search the haunted house for one thing, or the hideout once again, I don't know. At this time, I don't think I do. Do I have solid evidence that proves the murder took place at the haunted house? The answer is no. See? So since you don't have any, shut up. I don't have the evidence yet, but I'm certain the murder occurred around the time I turned the ransom over. And that time the only people at the haunted house, besides myself, were Lance and Mr. Deacon. If I can prove that the murder took place at the haunted house, then I can prove Lance's guilt in connection to the murder. What now, Mr. Edgeworth? Agent Lang, I have a special request. Yeah? I'd like to prove to you that the scene of the crime was indeed the haunted house. Why in the world are you asking the werewolf for permission? Because I don't really have a choice if I want to find the truth. Alright, permission granted, but you're not to touch a single thing, got it? Well, he's nicer than I thought he would be. He's not getting in my way, so... Well, him not being the culprit or having anything to do with the case, or at least as far as I know, is probably helping. That won't be a problem. All that's important to me is that the truth be brought to light. It doesn't matter by who or how it's done, as long as it is. Sheena! I'm here. Put in the paperwork for the authorization immediately. Understood. I'll go get the Gatewater Group's approval. Hold it! Who said that? Who was that? No. Let's hold on for a second. There is no need to obtain approval. Mr. Romano, Agent Lang, if you would please take a look at this. What is this? Sheena! It's the deed to the haunted house. The deed? Read it out loud. Gatewater Land Incorporated hereby bequeath the property known as the haunted house to Mr. Romano for the lump sum of $1 million paid in full in cash. What? Oh, as you can see, I am now the legal owner of the haunted house. Are you kidding? When did you... I ran into the owner of the park earlier and we made the deal almost immediately. How quickly things move when you can prepare $1 million in the blink of an eye. Yeah, it was the ransom. Yeah, it doesn't take a genius to figure that out. Oh, that's right. This disgusting suitcase belongs to you, doesn't it? I don't have any more use for it, so you may have it back now. You used the ransom money? Lance is a good boy. He even apologized for the kidnapping a bit earlier. So I do believe that I will forgive him. After all, he did return the ransom money. That's the way things are. So if you would please discuss things with me from now on. Discuss? What is there to discuss? Why, permission to enter the haunted house, of course. While we were busy listening to Lance's story, Mr. Romano was out there preempting us. Permission to search. The haunted house is denied. End of discussion. Well, I figured. Can we get a warrant or something? Yeah, but by the time we do, we will have had time to remove any piece of evidence that was in there, though. Agent Lang, I want you to arrest that girl. And Miles, you should hurry on home now, my boy, before I really lose my temper. Ah, Mr. Romano definitely has the deck stacked in his favor there. What should I do? If I leave it like this, the truth will be lost forever. To be continued. There's a bit more, I guess. Yeah, but I should still have enough time left to finish this case today, I think. If I can't get permission to investigate the crime scene, then the truth will be lost. Hold it! Hold it! Hold it! Hold it! Okay. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you doing spacing out? Have you forgotten? There's only one thing you should do at a time like this. And what is that? When the people are in a bind, the hero of justice appears to save the day. Look, you just leave it to me. For I am Kei Faraday, the second of the great Yatagarasu. But I thought you were a thief, not a hero. The Yatagarasu is noble and is always a thief of justice. That's... of course. If we have enough information, I can recreate the inside of the haunted house with this. Ah. Plus, if we then factor in everyone's testimony, you can recreate exactly what happened when I dropped off the ransom money. We may be able to figure out some new information through this. It's worth a try. Agent Lang. So you want to use your little toy, be my guest. Okay, hang on. You're all about to witness the true power of a real modern-day Robin Hood. Detective Gumshoe, is there a copy of the haunted house's blueprint among the police's reference documents? Yes, sir. We got it just in case we needed it for the kidnapping case. Alright, I'll input the haunted house data then. What is this? Where are we? It's like we're inside the haunted house. Even if we can't inspect the real location itself, the path to the truth slumbers here. If I can successfully navigate my way using logic, I'll ultimately arrive at the truth. Now then, I believe I'm ready to investigate the crime scene. Okay, what should I recreate first? You haven't figured it out yet. Maybe I have and maybe I haven't, but I'm going to make you do all the hard work. Very well, I'd like to inspect the moment in which I was ambushed by my abductor. The two of them were definitely in this place at that time. If I can verify that, it may provide me with a new lead. I had just come out into the hallway after leaving the money inside the dining room. At that time, I saw a badger slumped over on the floor at the end of the hall. Hey, there's the sword there, no? Isn't that the sword itself that was used to block the door? What was the badger doing all the way down there? I also thought it strange. However, I thought that maybe it was simply a mannequin that was set there for atmosphere. Do you know which badger it was? No, it was too dark to tell. All I saw was its silhouette. Ah, damn it. But I don't know. In the opening sequence, I thought it might be a proto-badger, but I'm not 100% sure. In that case, I guess I'll just program a badger silhouette in for now. Okay, programming complete. Then I started walking towards the exit. And that's where you were struck from behind, right? Yes, but that's odd. The hallway is a dead end. Where did your assailant come from? There is only one location I can think of. I believe my assailant was lying in wait here. Well, yeah. That much makes sense. That doll I saw wasn't really a doll. It was in fact a costumed kidnapper. Oh, so he used the costume as the perfect camouflage to blend in with the rest of the house. Precisely. He waited until I had made the drop-off and was about to leave. Then, just as he saw me take a step towards the exit, he stood and launched his attack. I can think of no better hiding place than this. Hey, not bad. I'm beginning to think I should steal this tactic for myself. Just don't use it to do anything criminal, Kay. Well, Lance, what are you asking me for? As one of the kidnappers, I figured I should give you the chance to confess first. I was one of the kidnappers, but I don't know anything. I did come up to the haunted house, but I never set foot inside. I left Oliver in charge of picking up the ransom money. He didn't set foot inside? Is he telling the truth or is this another lie? If he never set foot inside, his father would probably not have bought the whole haunted house, I should think. Why would he? If his son never went inside. Who would he cover for if it's not for his own son? Alright, then you're claiming that it was Mr. Deacon who assaulted me. Yes, I'm sure it was him. Okay, inputting the new info now, Mr. Deacon was the Bad Badger, right? Since the Bad Badger has a gun attached to its right hand, I'll have to change it so that the weapon is in its left hand. Okay, now to verify the facts of this recreation. You didn't recreate the weapon. Well, I can't exactly recreate something I know nothing about, so tell me, what were you hit with? The attack came from behind, so I have no idea, but I doubt it was someone's bare hands. Okay, then where were you hit? I was hit on the right side of my head, just above my temple. There was a bit of blood, but it wasn't anything serious. Ouch, sounds painful. Why are you smirking like that when you say it? It's just your imagination. Now, let's see. I wonder if there's anything in the hallway that could have been used as a weapon. I'm looking for something the culprit could have used to hit you with. The sword? I mean, I can see one in that suit of armor over there. Is it possible? Or maybe a gun? Could he have hit me with the revolver? I'm not so sure. Hold on, I'm gonna save here. Because I can't afford too many mistakes now.
Take that!
I have it. There was indeed one such object lying here in this hallway. A prop sword. Are you talking about this thing here? Yes, although we did find it at the kidnapper's hideout. Wait, yes, it's possible that the culprit took it with him after using it on me. To leave no evidence behind, right? Correct. It may be worth a more thorough examination yet. What test do you want to run on this sword? Well, with luminol, if there was a bit of blood from hitting my head with it. Prince, well, if he was wearing the costume, I don't see the point of dusting for Prince. It has to be the other one. Because of the gloves, there wouldn't be any prints. The culprit was wearing the costume at the time, so fingerprint analysis is useless. Let's run a luminol test. It's possible that some of my blood found its way onto this. Agent Lang, may I ask for your cooperation in this matter? Like I have a choice. Sheena, call the lab boys. Understood. Except for a dab on the left side, it would appear that the blade is spotless. So it must have been the left side of the prop sword that hit you then, right? Okay, I'll attempt the recreation with this new piece of info. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious looking nook and cranny. It's me. I have to say, it's rather embarrassing to see myself like this. Oh, so what were you thinking about at the time? I don't recall, but I would guess that I was thinking about the kidnapping. Really? Because I don't think so at all. Your face practically screams, I'm about to be conked over the head. If I had known that at the time, do you think I would have let myself be hit? You know, the Bad Badger is pretty bad looking when you see him up close. Well, what did you expect from a character named Bad Badger? And those sunglasses, wearing them in the dark makes him seem extra bad. Now I'm lost. Which meaning of bad does she really mean? Are you bad? Are you bad? What, is there something that I still have to look out for? Deduce? Do I have to deduce something? Well, I don't know. Why use the broken prop sword at all? If he had the gun, he could have knocked me unconscious with the gun that he was holding. Doesn't make any sense. That seems like a lot of trouble. I think it had to be a badger, other than the bad badger, one that wouldn't have had a gun in hand, and so one that would have had a reason to pick up the sword to knock me unconscious with it. But how to show that though, and is that what the game wants from me? I really have to save before this. I'm trying to think. It's the only thing that I can think of. But, will the game be programmed for it, though? Yeah, well, yeah, she's right, actually. Maybe I am overthinking it just a bit. Or maybe I was supposed to well, hold on. I'm gonna try with the hand instead. No? No, okay. That wasn't it then. The right temple? Is that even possible? Well, I just saved, so I guess I can try. Oh, okay. I seem to have found something. I'm not sure what, but I found something. Finally, I found a clear contradiction of facts about this sword. Except for a bit on the left side, this prop sword is absolutely spotless. However, if the culprit had used his left hand, the blood would be on the opposite side. Opposite side? I guess so. The opposite side, huh? If the culprit held the sword in his left hand, then the sword's right side would hit. I see, but the blood was on the left side of the sword, right? Which means that he used his right hand to hit you. Exactly, this prop sword has a large hand guard attached to the hilt. It would be impossible to hold it with two hands while wearing a costume with such big hands. Therefore, if it couldn't be the left hand or both hands, it must have been the right. I'll change the data to reflect the right-handed swing. Not yet, Kate. There's no sense in changing anything yet. If you change the parameters to the right hand, it'll only create a new contradiction. Changing the prop sword to be in the culprit's right hand would conflict with the gun. This one? The Bad Badger already holds a gun in his right hand, so he can't hold a sword in addition. Hey, that's right, then what now? If it wasn't in his left or his right hand, it means that the one who struck me could not have been the Bad Badger. Well, that's what I had in mind already earlier, but I just didn't know how to point it out very well. Are you paying attention, Lance? Mr. Deacon could not have been the one who struck me, which leaves only you as our primary suspect. Or are you gonna try to, I don't know, I was gonna say, or are you gonna try to frame the girl for that as well? But no. Fine, it was me, I hit you. It appears that you lied to me yet again, but see how quickly they catch up to you, Lance. Wait, isn't Lance left-handed? Ah, yes, but that's what makes this deception all the more interesting. He used his right hand to make it look like Mr. Deacon had been the one to strike me. For you see, firing a gun with one's non-dominant hand is difficult, but that level of dexterity isn't required to swing a prop sword. Okay, please input this new data. The one who hit me from behind was Lance, or should I say the Proto-Badger. Yeah, well that's the costume that it looked like in the intro sequence anyway to that chapter, to that case. You got it, here I go. Now we have a faithful recreation of the situation around the attack on me. Alright, all we have to do is examine this new recreation and... Oh, what is it again? And what exactly is so funny, Agent Lang? That amusing little gadget, it sure packs a punch, right, Sheena? Yes, it was all I could do to hold my laughter in. Hey, don't make fun of little thief, you mean old werewolf? He and Miss Edgeworth bring out the best in each other. You've had your little fun, but now it's my turn. I've sat quietly by, listening. But the crude conclusions you two keep spewing don't whet this wolf's appetite. There's no guarantee that your toy will always show the real situation at any given time. All it displays is whatever information you put in there, right? Well, when you put it that way, your suppositions are wrong. It's not your fault, so I'm going to let you in on this. There is a trick to this haunted house. And what may that be exactly? A trick beyond what your tiny imaginations can produce. Sheena! Here you are. Now then, what you missed, girlie, is written right here in this pamphlet. I admit I didn't quite read it. The Disappearing Badger? The 7 Wonders of the Haunted House, the Disappearing Badger? What is this? I'd say that someone around here is fond of theatrics. And as you can see, they set a doll down at the end of this hallway for that purpose. Basically, the blue badger you saw was just a stupid doll. Gates Waterland pamphlet data updated in my organizer, but if it's set to disappear, it could have been replaced by someone inside of a costume. How can this be? Guess that throws your whole theory about it being your attacker right out the window. Yeah. But that can't be right. Maybe the culprit hid the doll somewhere, and then he laid down and pretended to be it instead. The criminal couldn't even hide himself in the hallway. How could he hide a giant doll? Do you get it now, thanks to your presumption? Your logic started off weak and led you to the completely wrong conclusion. Yeah, but if the doll is meant to disappear, then it must have a way to disappear, right? Now get off your high horse. Mr. Edgeworth. Okay, I wonder if you could please input the new information for me. You don't know when to quit, do you? I can't quit, not until I can declare that I found the truth. Agent Lang, for the additional information, you have my thanks. There you go again. Well, see if I care. Okay, I'm updating the recreation now. Now the that looks really weird. Look at how it changes from the blue badger into the proto badger all of a sudden. Wait, what? The proto... If the slumped over badger was just a doll, where was my attacker hiding? Well, that's what we're going to find out, right? So come on, Mr. Edgeworth, let's go. Yes, let's. Okay, this recreation can't be right, which means there must be a contradiction somewhere. Hmm. Is that showing the one that was, Why is there 3 now? This is where the Proto Badger shows up in our recreation. Yes, now the question is, where did he come from? Ah, that hole there looks a bit different. The background, doesn't it? Seems to be recessed a little. There must be an inconsistency somewhere. Well, it does look different to me. When you take a look around, it almost feels like more like a house of mirrors. Indeed. Who has ever heard of this many mirrors inside of a haunted house before? Well, at least we know this is the real crime scene thanks to these mirror shards. Ah, okay. That updated this. So I would have had to... Oh yeah, by the way, don't I... Oh wait, these shards, there's something different about them. Oh? The ones we found earlier are thicker than the shards from these mirrors on this wall. And look, there's some sort of design on the back too. The pieces from that costume are certainly different from the other mirrors. What does this mean? Could it be that our pieces are not pieces of these mirrors? Hmm. When you take a look around, it almost feels... Yeah, okay. No, okay, it's the same thing. Well, are there things that I can put together in my logic? Oh, no, okay, there's only the one piece of information, so... I won't rest until I've inspected blah 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 blah. This blue badger is just a doll for use in this haunted house. I bet the one who killed this blue badger was the bad badger, right? Would make sense. So this is a blue badger. According to the Blue Badger Bible, it says that they are each other's worst enemy. All because one's an ally of justice and the other is a vile criminal with a gun. Perhaps they were just destined to battle each other, much like the Steel Samurai and the evil magistrate. Yeah, okay, there's nothing about the rest of the scene. It obviously has to be on the doll itself. Is there any difference between the one in the picture and this one? Yeah, no, not that I can see anyway. Wait. Huh? Well, that's strange because the belt is not the same way. That could have something to do with the mirror, though. But it says deduce. When it says that up top, it means that there is something that you're supposed to deduce in the scene. And the only thing I can examine is the badger itself. And the only peculiar thing about it, that I can see anyway, is the belt not being the right way. So that's more than a bit strange. Is this a mirror? I mean, like, it seems to be mirrored or something. I should probably have not done that yet. I'm gonna save anyway. Which one was it? It was that one, I think. Hold on a second here. There is something wrong with this blue badger. Huh? Like what? The way the belt is on him is opposite of how it should be. Did you make a mistake? That can't be. I inputted the image data exactly as it is in the pamphlet. Maybe that's how they make it disappear, the disappearing badger. Maybe by using mirrors. So then, why is the blue badger dressed up in reverse? Can I piece those things together using logic? Okay, do you remember what you said earlier? What I said earlier about what? About how this building might as well have been a house of mirrors. A house of mirrors? Oh, that would explain the reversed or mirror image. Yes, this blue badger might be nothing more than the reflected image of a real one. Then was the blue badger you saw just a reflection? It could have been. There could have been a 45 degree angle mirror, and the real badger could have been like through that other mirror on the wall, which might not be a mirror at all. Maybe it's just like a glass window or something. When I looked down this hole, I thought it was perfectly straight. However, like this. However, if there was a mirror, then it would actually form an L shape, right? Precisely, I was deceived. The hallway was almost pitch black, and there was a beam in the way that obstructed my view of the other hallway. Wait, but why build this place like that? It sounds pretty pointless to me. Well, it's meant to be an attraction, so... Okay, this house is just another attraction at an amusement park. Yeah, there you go. They created a mirror wall for a very specific purpose, one I can point out to you using the pamphlet. It's the disappearing thing, after all, the disappearing badger. As it's written in the pamphlet, the main draw of this attraction is the mystery of the disappearing badger. You mean they built the mirror for that trick alone? But you said you saw the badger, so it was definitely still there. That was true at the time. However, doing this allows someone to make the blue badger disappear in a flash. Dim the lamps, move the blue badger, move the mirror wall. Well, yeah, move the mirror wall. Yeah, that would make more sense. Then the rest. To remove a reflected image, simply move the mirror. First, the mirror was constructed so that it could be moved. Then beyond where the mirror was, an empty hallway had to be created. Yeah. It's actually a pretty clever trick. Oh, so when they wanted people to see the blue badger, they would open the mirror. And when they wanted to hide it, they simply had to close it again. This explains why the other side of these fragments have a design on them. Ah, and if the pattern is the same as the other walls in this hallway, then when the mirror is closed, it would blend in with the rest of the walls. And actually, we could see it there, I think. Maybe this is that recessed section of the wall that I saw. This is the mirror trick that this haunted house employs. And this also proves the existence of a hiding place for the culprit. Huh? How so? Think about it, Kate. There was a place that was outside of my field of vision. The culprit kept out of sight by hiding here. Here? Is it possible, or is it here? It's one of the two, anyway.
Take that!
There was a very large blind spot, one I could not see beyond, and it was here. If my assailant hid on the other side of the movable mirror, then you wouldn't be able to see him. You didn't even need to do anything to the blue badger doll. Exactly, all you had to do was wait for me on the other side of the mirror. Wait, hold on, I just thought of something. Yes? Well, shouldn't the mirror wall be broken right now in reality? Since we have a few shards of it, we can probably assume it is. Yes, it most definitely is broken. The question is, when was it broken? Since we found these inside the victim's costume, that would mean that the victim was there when the mirror was broken. Wait, that sound. Leave the money and go now. That sound I heard was most definitely the sound of a mirror breaking. Kay, I'd like you to input some new information. Ah, don't scare me like that. Sorry, but I need you to recreate something for me. Sure, whatever you need. So what do you need anyway? If you could first recreate this hallway just before I entered the dining room. You got it. Okay. Now this, I believe this is how it was right before I entered the dining room. Okay. Although, at the time I thought it was but a single straight hallway. And then I went inside. It was around then that I heard the sound of a mirror shattering. You heard what? Then... Yes, I believe it was then that the mirror was broken. Okay, so then when you stepped outside into the hallway again, the mirror wall should no longer exist. Kay, please recreate that. Got it. Wait, but with the mirror gone, the culprit lost his hiding spot. So where did he go in his proto-badger suit, Mr. Edgeworth? Ah, that's easy enough. With the mirror gone, he simply hid himself in the branch hallway. I think this about wraps it up. Looks like we finally solved everything. No, not yet. An even larger contradiction has now reared its head. Huh? Perhaps you did not notice, but this recreation contains a very troubling inconsistency. The inconsistency between what I saw and the recreation lies... here? There was still a badger there. Okay, take a good look at the end of the hall. Oh, there's no blue badger there. Exactly, the blue badger that I saw in reality is not here. This is the final point on this long chain of logic, the last remaining contradiction. So let me get this straight. When you came out of the dining room, you saw a badger, right? And that is precisely where the final contradiction lies. Something that shouldn't exist was there before me. Who or what do you suppose it was? I believe this is the real identity of our mystery badger. This guy? If I can't present a profile, then who else could that be? Yeah, I don't see what else it could be.
Take that!
The badger I saw in actually was a dead victim's body. Ah, yeah. What? He was already dead. Agent Lang, the entirety of my complete logic is my final decisive piece of evidence. The murder happened in the hallway of the haunted house at the time of the drop-off. And you can consider the moment I heard the mirror breaking to be the real time of death of Mr. Deacon. No! Maybe it was due to their fighting, or perhaps it was the life-shattering bullet. But no matter what the cause was, the hallway mirror wall was broken. Ha! You were in the house at the time, right? Are you telling me that you missed the sound of a gunshot?
Objection!
There were a variety of sound effects playing at the time, all for theatrics, I assume. Well, I would assume, too, that... if the victim was shot at point blank, and those costumes seemed to be very big and fluffy, maybe the sound of the gunshot was muffled by the costume. Although I've seen like scenes, I have since seen, what is it called again? Mythbusters or something like that, where they debunk that belief that a cushion or something like that, or a pillow, can actually muffle the sound of a gunshot. It's actually not true at all. But in fiction, usually this is something that they use, and they might have used that here. But in reality, it's completely unrealistic. It doesn't muffle the sound of a gunshot at all. A gunshot is just way too loud for just a cushion to muffle the sound. Hey, RNG! The gunshot must have blended right in. Hi-ya! It's going well, thanks. Pretty good. Now then, I'd like you to recall something for me. Who was it that was with the victim at the haunted house? Who was the one who had the opportunity to rob the victim of his gun and use it on him? It was you, Lanzamano. Hey, you broke the cuffs. I'm so screwed. Ah, sorry. It's not like I had a choice. Oliver turned on me all of a sudden. He snapped and turned violent right after I hung up with you. He shoved me to the ground and straddled me. I fought back as hard as I could, grabbed his gun, and I shot him. The bullet must have went through his body and shattered the mirror. If I hadn't taken his gun and shot him first, I would have been the one you found. He's a hardened criminal. He escaped from jail. See? That's justified self-defense. My boy was only trying to protect himself. That remains to be seen and will have to be resolved in court. Agent Lang, I leave the rest to you. Heh, as if you were the one in charge around here. Guys, arrest these two and get them out of my sight. Wait, I had nothing to do with the murder. Well, you tried to cover it up, so the only person you should be arresting is Lance. That! Oh, okay. Sorry, but you're not slipping away that easily, Mr. Ernest Amano. You tampered with the evidence so that you could cover for your son. What a great dad you are, willing to risk it all. Truly touching. By the way, do you know why I'm really here? And how could I possibly know the answer to such an assigned question? You wound me. I came all this way from across the sea just to see you, you know? You came to see me? What's that supposed to mean? I have a few things to ask you, Mr. Romano, about the case from 10 years ago. A case from 10 years ago? Oh, what's the name that you use here for that case? Sheena! It's known as the KG-8 incident. First DL6, now KG-8. The KG-8 incident? Oh, so you remember it. Good. Then you'll recall that the trigger in that case was the Amano Group scandal. Specifically the charge of an internal smuggling ring. Smuggling. There's that word again. At the time, the person that was arrested as the ringleader was Mr. Romano's very own secretary, Mr. Colin Devoray. Ah, father! Even though you pushed the crime onto your then secretary, Mr. Devoray, I always suspected that you were involved with the smuggling ring, Mr. Romano. Mr. Devoray was arrested in place of you, which is why when he broke out, you hid him from the police, right? You hid him in exchange for his silence on your little dirty secret. Now. Please calm down. I honestly have no idea what you're talking about. Heh, pretend to be ignorant all you want. We're taking you down to the precinct anyway for a nice long chat. Ooh, he's sweating bullets. Hold it! Hold it what? What the? Who the heck was that? Him? I'll take him down to the precinct if you don't mind. Oh yeah, isn't that taking place 2 years before the events with the plane and such? Oh yeah, so it was already, I guess, in that case too, before he got arrested in the first case in that game. And who the heck are you? I am Jacques Sportsman, and I'm the prosecutor in charge of this case. Oh, Jacques, thank goodness you're here. He's gonna get him off the hook. Don't jerk me around. This is an Interpol case, so keep your paws off my suspect. Sorry, but I can't comply. I've got the backing of the prosecutor's office. See, in this country, we prosecutors work with the police to bring cases to court. If you could please cooperate with me here, that'd be great. Now, how about a handshake to seal the deal? Sorry, but I hate prosecutors, the whole lot of you. Well, this one was corrupt, so he was not wrong. Guys, arrest the 2 suspects. Sir! Oh, I almost forgot. Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth, I'd like to thank you. Thank me? Yeah, for working so hard to fulfill my goal. Hey, is that any way to thank someone? And what the heck is that supposed to mean? You were so relentless with Lance that you forced Ernest to tamper with the evidence. Thanks to that, I finally had a legitimate reason to arrest him. So how does it feel to bite the hand that feeds you? The hand that feeds me? I'm not sure I follow. Heh, it's no use pretending with me. You're the one, right? You're the corrupt prosecutor that's working for Mr. Romano and the smuggling ring, right? Ah, come on, can't you put 2 and 2 together? He was right there, trying to get him off the hook. How thick do you have to be? No, I would never do such a thing. Shit, what the heck? Our intel's never wrong. In your prosecutor's office, there's definitely someone working with the ring. Ah, so Agent Lang suspected my relation to Mr. Romano. That must be the real reason behind his antagonistic attitude. On top of that, your mentor was Manfred von Kramer, right? Well, he was known to tamper with evidence, so there were non-stop rumors flying around about forged evidence with that guy. You're not twisting the truth behind those closed courtroom doors too, are you? The courtroom is a place where the truth is revealed. Well, don't worry, it's not only you, the whole lot of you can't be trusted. A prosecutor we never lost in 40 years, every defendant must be found guilty. Fueled by those ideas, is it any wonder that courts produce nothing but falsities and lies? It would seem that his disdain extends beyond just me. Prosecutors, the courts, why is this man so angry with us all? Rest assured, the next time we meet, I won't be so forgiving. So don't you forget it! What a duo. Please, wait! Agent Sheena. Why does Agent Lang hate all prosecutors so? Lang is the head of the long-honored House of Lang in Zengfa. The heads of all police-related divisions in that country were of Lang blood. Were? What do you mean by that? Aren't they still? They were revered, but that was long ago. They don't hold that sort of sway anymore, and it was all because of the courts. How can that be? A prosecutor once withheld and tampered with the evidence one of the Lang detectives found. That evidence's purity was tarnished and cost the Lang family its honor and trust. But not all prosecutors are like that. Even so, Lang will never respect the courts again, or any prosecutor. So Agent Lang is a man who hates all courts and is unwilling to forgive prosecutors. Man, what a piece of work that guy is. Come on, Jim, we'd better catch up. Yeah. Faith? Faith? Who is Faith? Faith? Who's Faith? I don't have her here, I guess. Or him. Ah, yeah, no, it's the guy. He's the guy that died in the first case. Yeah, I remember now. Yeah, Faith, whatever his first name was. But Buddy Faith or something like that. Detective Gumshoe, I believe it's time we wrapped up and headed home ourselves. Yeah, are you going home too, Mr. Edgeworth? No, I've done nothing but be entangled in one mess after another since my return. If it's alright with you, can you drop me off at my office? No problem, sir. Excuse me. Yes, what is it? That is. Thank you very much. Oh, it's okay. No need to thank me, pal. Just doing my job as a detective. I guess I was fooled pretty badly by Lance. Oh, cruel fate. What's a woman to do when she's been hurt by the one she loves? And to think I never realized my father was right there. I never said anything to him. I knew it. I'm a failure. There she goes again, talking to herself. Miss Pops, I wonder if you know why your father participated in the kidnapping. No, I have no idea. Your father died while he was trying to stop Lance, which means that from the beginning he had no interest in the staged self-abduction. Wait, then why did he... I believe it was because of your presence, Miss Pops. Me? Lance realized that the two of you were related, which is why he used you as a hostage to coerce Mr. Devorai into cooperating. Father! As a felon, he could not tell you of his real relation to you. However, as the Amano family butler, at the very least, he was able to watch over you. It was all he could do, but that was the shape of his overflowing love for you. Go on, speak your mind. That is... thank you very much. You're welcome, although there is no need to thank me. Ah, no, Lauren, stop. I mean, this man's so much older than you. Hehe, looks like you've completely stolen her away, Mr. Edgeworth. Way to go, sir. Your technique is way beyond the level of a great thief. What are you going on about now? Wow, your deducing skills may be sound, but you have no street smarts. That's Mr. Edgeworth for you. Yeah, I mean, he still hasn't figured out who I am at all. If you haven't remembered in all this time, I guess I'm just going to have to say it. This isn't the first time we've met, you know. What do you mean, pal? Mr. Edgeworth? How do you know this girl? Looks like you totally forgot me too, Gummy. Gummy? Gummy? Who is that? Who is she? Gummy? Doesn't ring any bell? I promised I'd return this to you one day, remember? That single piece of cloth took me back far into my past. To that fateful day 7 years ago. Oh yeah, okay, it's not something that happened... that's not something that happened in the previous game. It's something that's coming up now in the in this one, I suppose. Detective Gumshoe. Oh, okay, so it's the end of that case. Well, I still have like 45 minutes to go, so I guess I could get started on the fourth case right here and right now. There we go. Well, let's get started then. Kay Faraday, the young lady who calls herself the second Yatakarasu. Turnabout reminiscence. The piece of cloth that she conjured up has taken me back to many years ago. 7 years earlier. Hey, we're in court. Yeah, that's right. I did it. I killed the guy. But it was the great thief Yatakarasu that told me to do it. I asked the defendant, just what exactly are you trying to say? Did you get it? I know the true identity of the Yatakarasu. The Yatakarasu is the man standing over there at the prosecutor's bench. Are you saying that I'm the Yatakarasu? Don't you dare to deny it. You told me to kill him when you snuck into the embassy. It's scrolling automatically there, so I missed. Are you claiming that Mr. Faraday is the Yatakarasu? Mr. L, I think we've heard just enough out of you. Your Honor, please listen to me. I'm telling the truth. You've got to believe me. In accordance with the defendant's accusation, a new prosecutor shall be called to replace Mr. Faraday. This court will be in recess until the new prosecutor is ready. Oh, he's wearing that jacket this time. It's almost time for me to enter the courtroom. And so it is that my first assignment as a prosecutor will be as a replacement for a prosecutor who has been accused by the defendant. Edgeworth? Ah, Manfred von Karma. Sir. Have you read over all the documents regarding this trial? Yes, sir. I've memorized everything there is to know. Very good. The paperwork for the prosecutor's substitution is just about complete. Edgeworth, always bear in mind that as your mentor, I am Manfred von Karma. Will accept nothing short of perfection. I understand, sir. To have the chance to stand in court at such an early stage in my career, I am honored and proud. As I have watched over your studies, I am giving you this very rare chance. Prove yourself. Crush the defendant's pathetic lies into oblivion. Yes, sir. That such a legendary prosecutor is watching over and judging my performance. I have to be perfect in every way. It should lead to the defendant lobbies. Edgeworth, where is your composure? If you wish to take a look at your enemy, do so in the courtroom as you crush him. Indeed. Thank you. You are a man of wisdom and experience, sir. A bulletin board, there are trial schedules posted on it. Trials scheduled for this week, huh? There's only today's trial listed. This must be a mistake, or this country's judicial system is not working as it should. This is so good. I could drink a whole gallon. I've never heard of water that tastes that good. Maybe I'll give him a minute. Does he plan on gulping an entire reservoir dry? Excuse me, madam. Is something the matter? I just thought someone would have brought hors d'oeuvres by now. But this is a courthouse. Be quite atypical to provide hors d'oeuvres here. Are you sure? Someone poured me a fresh cup of coffee last time I was here. What the heck does she think a courthouse is for? Mr. Prosecutor, sir, you've got a good eye if you can tell that I'm a prosecutor with just one glance. As there are always only prosecutors and defense attorneys in this lobby, I usually hit the mark if I guess one or the other while there is recess. You were only guessing? Aren't these great, Daddy? And aren't these great? Daddy made all of these. Awesome, but didn't you get fired right after you made them? Yeah, I did. I spent the same amount of money on this model as it cost to build the real thing. And my boss wasn't very happy with me. Ha ha. Hey, Daddy, did you say you built a secret mechanism inside of it? Ha ha ha, I'll tell you about it someday when you're older. A secret mechanism? Maybe install it as payback for getting fired. Could be trouble. Now I'm curious. The model of the courthouse is pretty well constructed. Hands and a face? Don't tell me this thing transforms. Yet I wonder for what other purpose could they have been made. Egad, what a cold stare is giving me. However, as a disciple of Von Karma, there is no option but to win. He's good. The power of his cold stare rivals my own. He's sleeping while standing up. The trial will resume shortly. Please wait a moment, sir. I was already well aware of that. Shortly or in a moment. Which one is it? Be specific. Bookshelf Compendium of Laws for beginners. I don't have the time to read this and second guess myself now. Today's trial should have ended in just 1 minute. Because the defendant was picked up by the security camera, correct? Exactly. The killer had the gall to say that he only killed because he was instructed to do so. Even more outrageous is this claim that the case prosecutor Byrne Faraday gave the order. Ha! Faraday is such a fool. He's been cornered by his very own prey. Sir, are you an acquaintance of Mr. Byrne Faraday? He is a pathetic man who speaks nothing but nonsense. Nonsense? He once tried to explain to me a way of punishing those who cannot be brought to court. Those who cannot be brought to court. That sounds like the Yatakarasu, alright. Stealing secrets and giving them to the media to punish the people who can't be brought to court. That sounds like him, so maybe he really was the first Yatakarasu. And if the other girl was his daughter, it would make sense that she would start acting like her father. That is nonsense, for no man is above the law. Well, there are always a few exceptions. However, there is no reason to even deal with such individuals. A prosecutor is a guardian of the court, one with no obligation to outside matters. Thus, there is no reason to deal with such individuals. I see. Edgeworth, disgracing yourself as Faraday has will not be forgiven. Have no fear, I will not let you down, sir. In place of the accused, prosecutor Byrne Faraday, I'll prove the defendant's guilt. Very good. I've secured an hour of recess for you to prepare to do just that. Show them all the power of Von Karma. So, have you achieved a firm understanding of the case? Yes, sir. I have memorized everything that is written down in the case files. Well then, explain the case to me. I want to see if you really know what you are talking about. Understood. A murder was committed on September 8th in front of the Kodopian embassy. The victim, Mr. Deadman, was a staff member at the embassy. The defendant in this case, Mr. Mackerel, was held for questioning the night of the incidents as he was deemed suspicious. He was quickly placed under arrest. Wait, what? He was placed under arrested? Huh? For possession of the murder weapon, a gun? Yeah, there's something not right with that sentence. Furthermore, at the time of the murder, the great thief Yatakarasu had successfully infiltrated the Kodopian embassy as well. At first, Rel claimed that he himself was the Yatakarasu, but that he did not kill Deadman. I wonder what he expected to gain from such a desperate lie. It's possible that he wants to go down while in the spotlight if he is found guilty. There truly is no limit to people's inanity. But I digress. Continue, Edgeworth. Yes, sir. During the trial, the prosecution presented security footage that captured the murder. The footage clearly showed Mr. Rel as the murderer. The act of Mr. Rel firing the gun could be clearly seen from the visitors' gallery. Upon seeing that, the defendant retracted the statement and admitted to the murder. I did it because I was told to, by the real Yatakarasu Byrne Faraday. That sounds about right. However, you've forgotten one thing. Well, while this may appear to simply be the murder of a Kodopian embassy staff member, people are actually referring to it as the second KG-8 incident. The second KG-8 incident. I'm very sorry, sir. I fear I failed to study hard enough. Well, even among the police, it's information that only a select few are privy to. Could you please enlighten me, sir? Sir, what do you mean by the second KG-8 incident? In order for me to tell you that, you must first learn about the original case. Take a look at these documents. This is a 3-year-old newspaper. KG-8 incident overview data jotted down in my organizer. You have heard of the Amano Group scandal before, correct? Yes, I have. The secretary of Ernest Armano, the Amano Group's director, was arrested under suspicion of smuggling. Correct. Chiche Yu? What kind of name is that? Was an employee of the Amano Group. And the sole witness to the smuggling operation, it was she who brought the crime to light. However, Miss Yu was silenced before she could testify in court. Wasn't the Kodopian embassy staff member arrested for the murder? Kodopian embassy staff member Manny Koaken found not guilty. Yes, a Kodopian by the name of Manny Koaken was the suspect. However, due to lack of evidence, the case went unresolved. Lack of evidence? If only I was in charge of the case, I would have fabricated the evidence that was lacking. I would have done everything in my power to prove his guilt. To make sure that all criminals are found guilty, my mentor really is dedicated. Faraday was the prosecutor on the case then, and he was as pathetic as ever. Mr. Faraday was in charge of the KG-8 incident as well? That's right, and now once again the victim of the case you are currently assigned to was someone who was scheduled to testify against that smuggling organization. And just like last time, the victim was murdered right before he was to testify. Ah, yeah, well, you're catching on. Yeah, that was Edgeworth saying that, actually. The victim was murdered just before his day in court against the smuggling organization. Events are occurring almost exactly the same way as they did in the KG-8 incident. So that's why it is being called the second KG-8 incident. Yes. Yet there is one difference between the two incidents. What would that be? The so-called noble thief that is sending everyone into an uproar. The great thief, Yatakarasu. Yatakarasu, I'd better find out more. If it is true that the Yatakarasu showed up at the Kodopian embassy? What could he or she have been after? No doubt to steal any suspicious accounting records and release them publicly. Or more likely to steal secrets from the Kodopian embassy itself. Since the item that the Yatakarasu stole from there was sent to the police. What was it that the Yatakarasu sent to the police? I don't know the details. Anything related to the Yatakarasu is getting the top secret treatment. Still, I find it very ironic. By returning the stolen item to the police, it was proof positive that the Yatakarasu had infiltrated the embassy on the same day the staff member was killed. Criminals have a way of incriminating themselves, wouldn't you say? That would have to be the first time the Yatakarasu has left evidence behind, correct? Yes, indeed. If you wish to learn more about the Yatakarasu, then I suggest you ask Faraday. Mr. Faraday? He happens to be the prosecutor in charge of the Yatakarasu case as well. He's the prosecutor in charge of both the KG-8 incident and the Yatakarasu case. Mr. Faraday really has a lot on his plate. There she is. What is it, little girl? Nee, Oni-chan. Oni-chan. You're scary, mister. Did you need something? I want to trade these coins with you. A fistful of dimes, quarters, and pennies, but it looks like exactly $1. Is this what you want? Thanks, that's exactly what I needed. Could that child be here to watch the trial? How disrespectful for a child like that to be running around inside the courthouse. Does no one have respect for this country's judicial system anymore? The paperwork for the prosecutor's substitution is complete. Why, you, do you even know how much time there is left before the trial resumes? I'm so sorry. I can have you mopping up this courthouse instead of protecting it in an instant. It's no bother, sir. Not being completely prepared could prove to be a perfect handicap for me. A proud one you are. You had better collect the evidence from Faraday and prepare yourself. It's time for your debut, Edgeworth. It's a first for two prosecutors to be together in the courthouse. I mean, in the courtroom. Just what is going on? Why isn't Faraday here yet? How is it possible that the defense is not prepared yet either? Bailiff, where is Mr. Faraday? I'm not sure. I wasn't really paying attention. Well, there's the judge. Ah, you must be the one Mr. Von Karma recommended. I hear this will be your first trial. I look forward to seeing how you perform. Oh, by the way, was there someone celebrating the birthday during the recess? I could have sworn that I heard a popper going off. Come to think of it, the other day with my grandson. Sir, it looks like the trial is about to resume. However, yes, it will be all but impossible to prove the witness a liar without the evidence from Faraday. What is that blasted buffoon up to? It's an emergency, sirs! Silence! There shall be no yelling in the secret hall of law. Bailiff, remove that man from this courtroom at once. But please, wait! You have to listen to me. There's an emergency. Defendant lobby number 2, Mr. Faraday and the defendant. The two of them. They're both dead, Your Honor. What? Yeah, I was gonna say, it would be a bit weird if all of a sudden we were sent to court because this game doesn't seem to send us to court at any time, other than, well, the courthouse, okay, but not to an actual trial. At least not that I know of. Well, that one looks suspicious. No one's allowed on the crime scene. Period. Just who does this oddball think he is? This is becoming quite the hotspot. Isn't she Miss Terrell's defense attorney? Who is she? Hey, you! No running in the hallway, pal. Ah. And who are you to tell me what to do? I'll never find out what's going on like this. It's time for some civil discourse. Okay. Interesting, they're selling special court-themed food products here. Many of them seem sort of troublesome and suspicious. Objection, I suppose. A drink vending machine. Ah! Now is not the time to be pondering what kind of drink I want. What's that poster? A poster of the judge. There's a slogan of some sort on it. Every strike of my gavel brings the truth closer to me and my hair farther away. Is this a promotional poster for the court or a hair growth product? Fire extinguisher. If one were to be hit in the head with this, I suppose the victim would lose a memory or two. But it's not as though I'd ever be so foolish as to be struck by one of these, unlike Phoenix. This sofa looks like it's seen its fair share of use, and it looks like another part of the courthouse is visible from the window. My eyes have locked with my reflection's eyes in the barred window. As a student of Karma, I refuse to back down. I won. And you are... Who, me? Hey, pal. It's common courtesy to tell someone your name first before asking theirs. Point taken. My name is Miles Edgeworth. I'm a district prosecutor. A prosecutor? I've never seen a prosecutor as young as you, pal. I've told you my name. Now, would you mind telling me yours? How old are they in this one, by the way? Oh, I guess, yeah. Their profile isn't there yet. Well, I guess, yeah, they're 7 years younger than in the previous case, but I don't remember how old they were in the previous case, so that's not really helping. Manfred von Karma was 60. Never known defeat in 35 years, a legendary prosecutor. Maybe he's fresh out of school at that point. Detective Get-Dip Gumshoe. Just recently I achieved my dream of becoming a detective. More than a dream, it's what I was born to do. Wait, maybe I should check and make sure I'm not really in some crazy dream first. This detective is entirely too excited to be at a murder scene. So, Detective Gumshoe, would you mind telling me what you know about the incident? You know what? You know that I don't have to tell you anything, right? I know that, but it would behoove you... But it would behoove you to fill me in on what you know. Wow, you're a proud one for such a youngster, aren't you? Well, anyway, Detective Bad is the one in charge. So you're just gonna have to ask him for all the details, okay? As for me, I was guarding the door to defendant lobby number 2. So you were the guard detail. Did you notice anything strange while you were on duty? Well, I freaked out when I heard a gunshot, and then I kinda froze. You're a detective and the measly gunshot scared you that much? Then again, I can hardly claim to not know what it's like to hear one at close range. Then Detective Bat came running to the scene. We went into lobby number 2 together, and both men were lying there dead. Is that everything? Yeah, that's it. I was in the hallway the whole time, but I didn't hear a single peep of a struggle. Interesting. Other than the gunshot, I didn't hear a single sound of commotion. Do you have a minute? You know I'm not really into talking to people I don't know, especially at a time like this. I apologize for not introducing myself before bothering you. My name is Miles Edgeworth. I was to take Mr. Faraday's place in court. Edgeworth, huh? Never heard of you. So Faraday's substitute is a newbie, huh? I'll have you know, madam, that I studied under Manfred von Karma. Do not take me for some naive novice. Do not take me for some naive novice. So you're a student of von Karma? I should have... Those clothes are a dead giveaway. Stop right there. These are the garments of one who gallantly presents the facts. Thanks for the great laugh, but try not to make me laugh so much, okay? I wasn't trying to do anything of the sort. Just kidding. I was just goofing around. By the way, do you know who I am? My name is Callisto Yu. And if you're telling the truth, then we were about to go head-to-head in court. But of course, I have heard much about you, Miss Yu. But of course, I have heard much about you. You're a regular Shakespeare. Did I say something funny? I'd like you to update me on the situation. I don't really know anything. Why don't you try talking to those detectives over there? If that's the case, then why are you here? What's so funny? It's just that the way you speak is so tactless. The person I was going against in court until only a little while ago was just murdered. It's not like I could go back into the courtroom pretending as though nothing happened. That's a good point. I apologize for asking such an insensitive question. It's fine, don't worry about it. Okay. Should talk to him now. Excuse me, but who are you? Detective Tyrell Bad, homicide. I was informed of the situation and came as quickly as possible. So how did you arrive and inspect the body before me? Faraday requested for me to testify in the trial. Plain and simple. Mr. Faraday requested that you be here? I've already contacted HQ about the situation. I've got nothing to say to you, kid. Kid? I'm Mr. Faraday's substitute in today's trial. Therefore, I insist that you update me on the situation. I can't back down here. I have a right to know. Do I need to teach you a thing or two about how to talk to adults, kid? Is he threatening me? Is he going for his gun? It's just a mirror. How dare he trick me like that? Faraday was stabbed to death with some kind of blade and he had a gun in his hand. The other man, a Mr. Mackerel, was shot and killed. He was found holding a bloody knife in his hand. Was there anyone else who went into defendant lobby number 2? Yeah, that big lug over there. His name's Gumshoe. He was in charge of guarding the place. He's claiming that no one else entered the room. If that's the case, then they must have killed each other, correct? Maybe. Such impudence. This guy is really testing my patience. Why was I not informed that you were going to testify in court? Homicides aren't my only gig. The Yatagarasu case is also one of my assignments. So you were called upon to comment on the Yatagarasu's characteristics, in order to assess if Mr. Faraday really was a Yatagarasu or not. Well, looks like you just might have a brain after all in that head of yours, son. Son? I'm your son, Pops. So what now? Miss you. I miss you. There is someone here who wishes to see you. Who is it? A Kodopian embassy staff member by the name of Manny Kwaken. What's going on? Detective Bad and Miss Yu's moods just changed all of a sudden. He's the one that was found not guilty. Wasn't Manny Kwaken. I'll be right there. It's nice to see you again, Miss Yu. Yeah, I missed you, Miss Yu. why are you here? I have no desire to ever see you again. Now, actually, would you mind stepping outside for a brief chat? Fine, let's go. Did he come to scold me? Ah, no. When I have to read out loud so much, I get so thirsty. Bad. Von Karma? It's been a long time. I knew you would show up. You usually do when the Atakarasu is involved, and I see this case is no exception. Do you know Detective Bat, sir? Yes, he's like an old bloodhound that never leaves the scene of a crime. If only he would get a promotion and move on. It's the crime scene where a detective is the most useful and effective. It's not like I don't know that. Moving on though, Bad, the man that I just passed by. Was he not the suspect from the KG8 incident? So I was right. Just what is that man doing wandering around here? That Faraday, I can't believe he let such an easy catch get away, imbecile. I would have proved his guilt in 3 minutes. But Karma, I think you've said enough for now. It's in poor taste to speak like that about the departed. Very well. Back on topic, I'm placing Edgeworth in charge of the investigation here.
Objection!
Ah yeah, she must have been very young at that point. Papa, how can you place him in charge? Francisca, what are you doing here? I'm here for summer vacation, what else? How old is she at this point? So she is here on vacation from Germany. She is a daughter of Manfred von Karma and a student of his who is also a junior to me. You're the one who's junior to me, and don't you forget it. You're not conveniently avoiding the bar examination, are you? Huh. If you were able to pass, then I'll have absolutely no trouble at all. I'll never allow myself to lose to you. Never. Why does she always have to be this competitive? Anyway, Papa, are you really assigning Miles Edgeworth to cover the case? Yes, I am. Why do you ask? Well, you know, I'm close to becoming a prosecutor myself. And I am 100% confident that I can do a better job than him. Yeah, but you're not a graduate yet, so... That's just like Francisca. She has no problem bad-mouthing someone right in front of them. Bad? Yeah? These two will be conducting the investigation. What? You want me to let both of these kids loose on the crime scene? Oh, she's gonna be with me then. Ha, this is a perfect opportunity for them to work on their prosecutorial skills. A crime scene is not a place for children to be messing around in. I'm the one with the authority over this crime scene, Bad, and I will not tolerate complaining. Edgeworth! Francisca! I leave this case to the two of you. Understood, sir. Yes, Papa. I'll go take care of the paperwork now. Remember, I'll accept nothing but a perfect report from the both of you. Do not disappoint me! Hold up, Von Karma. I still haven't agreed to this. I guess she's with me now. Miles Edgeworth. It's been quite some time, Francisca. This will be the perfect chance for us to see which of us is truly worthy of the Von Karma name. Would it kill you to at least say hello? Long time no see. Very good. Just because you became a prosecutor first doesn't mean you can act all proud. Okay, I guess it wasn't quite the whip at that point. She hasn't changed a bit. Miles Edgeworth. As I was saying, we shall see which one of us is worthy of the Von Karma name. For crying out loud, I've been reduced to a babysitter. It looks like Mr. Von Karma was successful in convincing the detective. That's just like him, he never fails. Now, I'd appreciate it if you could quickly run me through the facts, Detective Bad. You're better off checking things out on your own. Very well. Seems like getting help from Detective Bad will be a most arduous task. Okay, so this is the crime scene. District Court, defendant lobby number 2. Yeah, it's the only real explanation that they killed each other simultaneously. Miles Edgeworth, you should listen to someone until they are finished talking. What are you talking about? I'll only say it one more time. This is a competition to see who is truly worthy of the Von Karma name. Competition. The person that figures out the truth first wins. So the person who doesn't discover the truth is a dishonor to the name. Exactly. I don't care that you became a prosecutor before me. I simply refuse to hear any more foolish things from your foolishly foolish mouth. Fine. Whatever makes you happy. Can I take that as you accepting my challenge? Once again, whatever makes you happy. Well then, let's begin the investigation, shall we? I'm going to find the perfect evidence and readily present it like the professional I am. Competing to discover the truth behind a crime. How delightfully childish. I didn't notice how his trench coat seems to be all covered in bullet holes. Or maybe it's just that it's just old, maybe. Falling to pieces, I don't know. Kid? Serves you right, Miles. He just called you a kid. I said kids, kid. How dare you call me a kid as well? I'll do what I please, and I won't allow you to cause a ruckus on my crime scene. Hey, big guy. You're going to watch over these two. Yes, sir. Detective Pat, sir. Now, do what I say from now on, kids, okay? You'd better not get in our way, Scruffy. You'll feel the bite of my whip if you do. Then you, prosecutor boy. Let's get your investigation started already, alright? Great, now even that detective is treating me like a child. Alright, it's time to get investigating. Get a move on, prosecutor boy. My name is Miles Edgeworth, and if you were to call me prosecutor boy one more time, it will be my duty as a prosecutor to look into your monthly salary. What? What would you do with my salary after you saw how much it was? That's up to you now, isn't it? Really? Sounds good, pal. He's so naive. Detective Bad, may I have a word with you? What is it? It appears that both a knife and a gun were used as murder weapons. Yeah, it does. That leads us to our first question of the investigation. Where did the men acquire the weapons? The gun was inside the Faraday's bag. It was a piece of evidence that was presented in the trial earlier today. It was used to kill the Kodopian embassy staff member. But I never heard anything about the knife. It's quite a peculiar knife, too. Mr. Rell was being held by the police. There's no way he could have brought it in. Which means it's possible that Faraday had the knife on him from the start as well. Could it have been a piece of evidence that had yet to be presented? More like, yeah, presented. But then, why doesn't Detective Bad know about it? Wait, what if? It's possible that Mr. Faraday brought the knife in under the guise of prosecutorial evidence. He could have then brought it out and attacked Mr. Rell with it. Maybe you've got a brain in there after all, kid. Is he going to treat me like a child forever? It looks like Mr. Faraday attacked Mr. Rell first, who then counterattacked. That's the only logical conclusion you can draw from a scene like this. Not yet. I feel that it's much too early to be drawing conclusions already. I must first find conclusive evidence so as to ensure the honor of the Von Karma name. Okay. Okay, it's Scruffy that's with me. This decorative plant's foliage is quite nice. It's actually soothing to be around. Perhaps I should purchase one for my room. Why are there plastic bags scattered all around? Those bags are for keeping evidence safe, pal. I know that much, detective. You sure are good at this stuff, aren't you, pal? Normally, I'd be happy when someone compliments me, but when it's this guy... Anyway, could these plastic bags be evidence of a fight between the two men?
Isn't one of them? No, wait.
Isn't there a stain there? Ah, no, okay, it's the same thing, that one. So, Scruffy. Yeah, pal? I'm so excited, pal. This is my first real crime scene. Let's get investigating. Detective Gumshoe. I thought investigations were supposed to be conducted in a calm, collected manner. What do you know about how to run an investigation, little boy prosecutor? I know that at the very least, I have a greater grasp than you of what happened here. Why you don't know any more than me, pal. Look, you just stay behind me, boy, and out of the way. Ironic coming from the guy that's been a step behind me the entire case. This is my first time setting foot inside the courthouse. Who would have thought it'd be for my first case as a detective? But you know, I get the feeling I'll be coming here a lot more in the future. As a suspect detective? Of course not, pal! Anyway, this lobby is actually pretty luxurious. I mean, for a defendant's lobby, it's got a pretty big TV. Oh, and there's that tea set on the table over there. Bet you didn't know that I like to drink tea. Wow, this room really is decked out. If it means spending time in here, maybe being a suspect isn't such a bad thing after all. I'm beginning to suspect that leaving this detective in charge of anything might be bad. But he's right, this room is rather well furnished. And somewhere in this room the truth is slumbering. It's time to find it and give it a wake-up call. So, Detective Gumshoe. Yeah, what is it, boy? Grr, of all the people to call me that, this detective is by far the least qualified. I wanted to ask you about the investigation, how the investigation is proceeding. See for yourself, pal. Oh, do I do a great detective bad or what? Has this man not a professional bone in his body? Very well, then I will inspect the victims' bodies myself. There are some plastic bags stacked up on the table. There's a tea set too, but there doesn't seem to be any sign of a disturbance. Yeah, the table's all neat and tidy. Maybe they were super quiet in their scuffle. After all, I didn't hear anything from out in the hallway, you know? Maybe the plastic bags scattered on the floor are throwing us off? Okay, no, this I already got. A bag? There's some stuff in the bag, pal. I suppose this was Mr. Faraday's bag. It's probably the trial evidence I was supposed to collect from him. This is the evidence? I'd better not touch it, I'll leave prints on it. You just not pay attention to anything, do you? Detective Bad, do you have any thoughts on the case? Faraday and Rel. It looks like they killed each other to me. Although, there are a few things that just don't seem right. And what would they be? Why don't you try thinking on your own first before you bother me, boy? Now I've been downgraded to just a boy. Whoa! What is it, Detective Gumshoe? My TV at home is so tiny compared to this one, pal. Then perhaps you should purchase a more normal-sized television like this one. Oh, let me see here. Wow, this thing is huge! Wow! I'm way too noisy. You're the noisy one, Scruffy. Don't touch it. You'll get your fingerprints all over it. But I didn't touch it. Preservation of the crime scene is the foundation of detective work. Foundation, huh? Sounds like something the rookie here needs to shore up on. I think he already told me that. Yeah, okay. Ah, I see. Did you figure something out? This is a competition, Miles, and as such, I'd appreciate it if you didn't talk to me. Ah, as you wish. It looks like Mr. Faraday fell on top of Mr. Rel. At first glance, it seems like they must have killed each other. However, using logic, the only logical conclusion is... Aha! What was that outburst for? My detective's instinct just hit me real hard. It was Mr. Rel that fell first, see? You don't need a detective's instinct for that. It's common sense. But I suppose we won't know much more than that until after I examine the bodies. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Okay. Why are there plastic bags scattered all around? Those bags are for keeping evidence safe, pal. Well, isn't that the same thing they already said? You sure are good at this stuff, aren't you, pal? Normally, I'd be happy when someone compliments me, but... Oh, no, okay. Yeah, you already said that. But this one had blood, so I thought there would be a different description for it. Looks like Mr. Faraday died while holding the gun in his right hand. So he shot Mr. Red and then fell on top of him while still gripping onto the gun? I guess that does seem kinda strange, huh? I mean, why would Mr. Faraday know how to fire a gun? It's not exactly rocket science, even I know how to pull a trigger. Although I doubt I'll ever need to use one. I hope I never have to fire a gun either, pal. But it sure does look cool to hold a gun in your hands. It appears that the police's screening procedures need a thorough review. Anyway, I should jot down some notes about the handgun in Mr. Faraday's hand. A knife. Looks like Mr. Rell died with the knife in his hand. There's some blood stuck on it. Then he must have used this as a weapon. Yup, no doubt about it. Was Mr. Faraday carrying this on his personage? Did he bring this as a piece of evidence for the trial? Or did he bring it with a very different intention in mind? I should jot down some notes down about it. First he killed the Kodopian embassy staff member, then he was murdered himself. This guy wasn't exactly an angel, you know? Oh, what makes you say that? What has been hauled into the precinct several times for theft and assault, pal. So yeah, he's definitely the type to have committed a murder or two. Well, he did admit to killing Mr. Dead Man. Hey, good point, pal. I knew my detective's intuition was telling me something. Detective's intuition. Yup, do you know about it? It's a special feeling that all We don't have time for this conversation right now. Let's return to the investigation. Mr. Faraday, how ironic it is for him to lose his life in a courthouse. Yeah, why did it have to be like this? I don't know what to say. I can't believe this happened while I was on watch, pal. Rather than beating yourself up, you should spend your time continuing the investigation. Didn't you become a detective in order to solve crimes? Yeah. Then get back to work, find out the cause of his murder. Right, I'm on it, pal. Do I have enough? There is a very tidy pile of plastic bags on the table, and yet a portion of them wound up scattered on the floor as well. It's not likely that the ones on the floor were knocked over during a struggle, in which case might there be another explanation as to how they got there? Another reason? I believe it's possible that the blood on the outside of the bag is related somehow. Eek, please get that blood away from me, pal. Detective Gumshoe, whose blood is on the bag? Hold on, let me ask the lab guy. Alright, please hurry. Wait till you get a load of this, pal. It's Mr. Faraday's. Oh, and the technician said they didn't find anything else on or in the bag either. It would appear that this bag is a very important piece of evidence. Okay, if you say so. I leave it in your hands, pal. Plastic bag data jotted down in my organizer. Is that all? No. Okay, there's more then. The window is open and there's a fresh flowery scent in the air. The flowers in the garden down there are so gross and ghastly. Do you think maybe you could try offering something useful for a change? Well, at least there's no way someone escaped through this window, pal. They wouldn't wake up and smell the flowers after a fall from the 3rd floor. Are you willfully ignoring the fact that there are also iron bars on the windows? Yeah, I guess there's that too. Either way, no one could get through these windows, right? They thought of everything when they were designing this courthouse. Very nice. TV has been left on. Why are you looking at me like that? It wasn't me. I didn't touch anything. Gumshoe, you do know what will happen to you if you touch something again. Right? I won't touch anything. I won't even go anywhere near the TV, sir. And you, get back to your investigation, alright? Was planning to do so anyway. His hand is all black down here, see? I wonder what it could be. If you look closely, this blotching pattern resembles an ink stain. Why is there ink on such a place anyway? An ink stain? Yes, I usually get ink on my own hand when I use my feather pen. A feather pen? I've never seen one before. Sure you aren't just making it up, pal? Mr. L's cause of death was from being shot, correct? That's what we think, but it's hard to tell with him lying face down. Death is bad enough, but it's truly lamentable that someone would try to hide the truth. Are you sure they were trying to hide something? I can't confirm Mr. L's cause of death with his body positioned like that. Detective Bad, I'd like to examine the bodies in further detail if possible. What's this? You're not able to form a theory with them the way they are? I believe an examination of the bodies is vital to finding the perfect evidence, don't you? I suppose you do have a point. Well, hurry up and get on with it. Labby! Yes, sir. We've taken enough photos of the scene, sir. And there you have it. Do you not approve? Of course not. What? Investigation of a crime scene is the work of a detective, so don't touch a thing. Hey, big fella, turn over the bodies for me, will you? Okay. Please forgive me, Mr. Faraday, sir. Gumshoe! Do not get emotionally involved. Remember, you're a detective. Yes, sir. Understood, sir. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna stop here anyway. I won't rest until I've investigated. Yeah, I'm gonna look through that later. I'm gonna save here. And then, yeah, just make a quick save just in case, just as to make sure that I don't lose any progress. I'm gonna stop here for today. I'm gonna continue the 4th case tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough time to finish it tomorrow, but well, we'll be continuing that case tomorrow anyway, around the same time as today, normally. And if there is something that comes up that prevents me from doing so, then I would let you guys know on my Discord. So be sure to look out for my message on there in case something comes up that makes me unable to stream tomorrow night. Thanks for watching, and take care, guys. See you next time.